You hear him every single morning here on 99.9 The Fan. He's one of the co-hosts of Unsportsmanlike, the morning show. He now joins us here on The Drive on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline. His name is Evan Cohen. Evan, thank you for taking the time. We appreciate you jumping on an afternoon show after doing all your work in the morning. We'll start with week one. I mean, from a national perspective, right, you cover the league a little bit differently than we do. What were you most surprised by in NFL week one?
Well, I'll tell you, Tim, the thing that I am probably most surprised about all throughout this league right now is the ineptitude of the Cleveland Browns. I just did not see that coming at all in any way, shape, or form. I'm embarrassed to say this because your station, 99.9 The Fan, is such an amazing station for us, and that if you listen to our show on your station in the morning, whenever we open up the calls, it's always people from 99.9 The Fan in Raleigh, right? So, I am so appreciative, and I try to work as hard as I can to have the best thoughts and takes and everything like that. We did a thing last week on the team that you think could come out of the AFC not named the Kansas City Chiefs, okay?
Yep. And
I said the Cleveland Browns.
All right, and full-scale turnabout by the end of week one? There's no sticking to your guns on this one?
No, I'm not giving up on that. But I don't feel great about the quarterback on a lot of levels, I got to be honest with you. See, at least with you guys in Carolina, you could look at Bryce Young, and you could sit there and say, while he may not be what you had hoped he would be, he may not even be close to what Jake Delhomme was for you or Cam Newton was for you, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He's the kind of guy you could invite to dinner, and you're not feeling awkward or odd, or uncomfortable or scared. Right? I'm not making accusations. I'm saying based on allegations around one quarterback in Cleveland. Yeah, that was the biggest surprise for me in week one. What about you? How would you answer your own question?
Biggest surprise for me at the end of week one. Well, actually, Cleveland is up there. I think the Cincinnati Bengals Patriots game is up there, and all of the survivor pools will tell you because everybody was eliminated picking the Bengals. So I'll flip it right back to you. What's more real? Do the Bengals stink, or are the Patriots way better than anybody thought?
Well, the Patriots have always been better on defense than people realize in the bad years, right? Mm-hmm. And those are only 2 or 3 years, but in the bad years, they've actually always been better than people realize on defense. I don't think the Bengals stink, but I don't know if they're going to be as good as everyone else thinks they are. So I'm going to go with that part of it. I am a Pats fan. I still think they come back to life a little bit, and that if they're lucky, they'll have 6 wins this year. But if you look at that division in the AFC North, I mean, are the Bengals better than Baltimore? No. Are they definitely better than Pittsburgh? I don't know about that. And obviously, I said what I said about Cleveland. So if you told me the Bengals weren't great this year, I mean, is it that unbelievable? Would you really be that shocked by that?
No, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked by it. I do think that what they put on the field in week one isn't indicative of what we're going to get in week 4 from that team when you get T. Higgins back and hopefully at some point Jamar Chase and the team are able to be in the same room without being icy towards each other. We're talking with Evan Cohen, co-host of Unsportsmanlike, but I want to go back to one of those teams you mentioned, right? When you mentioned the Steelers, we thought there was going to be a guy with ties to the area as their quarterback. Russell Wilson obviously played quite a bit at NC State. Have we seen the last of Russ as a starting quarterback? Maybe not even just with the Steelers, but in general in the NFL?
I want to say no, but I was somewhat
You want to? Are you
there.
going to?
Well, no, I'm saying – okay. No, we have not seen Russell the last of Russell Wilson as a starting quarterback. Here's the thing. I thought he should have been on the Carolina Panthers last year, and I thought he should have been on the Carolina Panthers this year. I said it on your station, okay? And I'll get to what I mean by that in a second.
Okay.
In this specific spot, I actually thought they would start him this week if he was healthy. Because when they win the game, Pittsburgh does, and they have 6 field goal drives, I know that Justin Fields didn't turn the ball over by way of interception, but I actually thought it was a perfect scenario for Russell Wilson with Mike Tomlin. That Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Steelers, could easily come out and say, listen, we won the game. It was great, but obviously we did not score points. Russell Wilson was the starter before the season, and thus I have seen nothing to change that, and Russ is going to get an opportunity to start. And I thought it was an easy thing. It would have been easy then if Russ wasn't good. Hey, we won a game with Justin Fields to go right back to him. And it's not that much of a stretch to say, we're going to not go with Justin Fields this week because of the fact that, they didn't leave touchdown drives. I thought he was going to do the exact opposite. So, yeah, now I'm a little bit nervous that Russell Wilson may never start a game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, that's not out of the realm of possibility. And if he doesn't start a game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, or if he's not the starter moving forward, and they find some sort of rhythm here with Justin Fields, I think they are better off moving him somewhere else than they are keeping him, okay, in this spot. Now, the question becomes, do they release him or trade him altogether if this is the case? Now, let me get back to my original point.
All right.
I am of the belief, Tim, you tell me if you disagree with me on this. I'm of the belief that rookie quarterbacks should sit initially and graduate into playing. And I don't care if all of a sudden you play as a rookie, if you're not good, let's call that rookie that's not that good, I don't know, I'm Bryce Young, that there still can be a developmental phase. And I also thought when you have a new coach that didn't draft said rookie, it's not that difficult to then say, in this case with Dave Canales, you know what, guys, I want to move slowly here. I just got here. I don't know Bryce. I'm going to put in a guy in Russell Wilson that I was with in Seattle, and we'll see how long this goes. Bryce is going to be our quarterback long term. Russ is going to show him the ropes. Maybe it's for 1 game, 2 games, 8 games, 17 games, or anywhere in between that, right? I actually thought it was a perfect transition point. I thought it really was, and they didn't take advantage of it. I wonder if we revisit that at all. I wonder if there's a Bryce Young kind of hiccup along the way here, whether or not they'd ever consider that. I know Andy Dalton is sitting there. I know it's a long-winded answer to your question, but I have a lot of Russell Wilson to Carolina takes that I've been holding in for some extent in the last 2 years.
I get the logic. I'm of the belief, I know there's like 2 camps on this, that you play the rookie, and if that ruins them, then they were never going to make it anyway. You had, like, just to be a quarterback in the NFL, you have to be able to overcome getting beat up or being in a bad situation. Bringing in Russell brings in a whole other can of worms, right? I don't think he agrees to come in knowing that the replacement is already on the roster.
Let me ask you a question.
All right.
And you've spent more time on this, obviously, than I have. But I've been thinking about this recently. Have the Panthers ruined Bryce Young, or has Bryce Young ruined the Panthers?
This is my producer Dennis, who I actually want to ask you a question about in a second.
Yeah, he asked me to buy him shoes today.
I was just gonna say, I know you're getting into the sneakerhead world, so he could help that transition. But he's a big fan. I ask him a lot of those same either-or questions that you just asked me, and he looks at me and just says yes, and it means like the yes to both. I think it's a both, right? Bryce Young, I think it's fair to say, wasn't the right pick at number 1 overall, but it's also the right thing to say that the Panthers had about the worst possible incubator to raise a young quarterback. I don't think anyone comes out of this smelling like roses.
So you didn't answer the question. The answer is yes in your mind?
Well, the answer is neither ruined the other. They both ruined themselves, if that makes any sense. Because Bryce Young, if he's not going to make it as an NFL quarterback, he's not going to make it as a Panthers quarterback. If he's going to make it anywhere else, he'll eventually make it from here. Like, to be an NFL quarterback, you have to be able to overcome pretty much whatever is in your path. And I think you'd agree with this. The ones we know that have been good for a decade plus, looking at their careers, it's like, oh, they would have done that regardless. Is it Brady? Is it Mahomes? Is it somebody like Matt Stafford? You can put them in bad situations. They're going to be good.
See, that's an interesting take you have, because that take to me, Tim, is I don't need to know circumstance. I need to know result. And my assumption, I'm saying, correct me if I'm wrong on your take here.
Yep.
Your take seems to be, I'm not as worried about circumstance. I'm worried about result. And if result is iconic and that great, it was going to be great everywhere.
No,
and while is that what you're saying?
Not exactly. I'm saying I know what a good quarterback and a bad offense looks like, and I'm not watching Bryce Young and seeing that. I know what a quarterback that flashes ability looks like, and I'm not seeing that. That doesn't make the situation better or worse. It just means. Like I've seen like I said, like the Matt Staffords in Detroit. That was an awful situation, and you'd still see the flashes of oh, there it is. We haven't seen that from Bryce. That doesn't let the Panthers off the hook, because they're terrible all over the place. But the good quarterbacks tend to find a way.
So let me ask you a question then. if you were going to rewind time,
Mm-hmm.
right, and we were going to take what we know right now, and we're instead of doing the drive on September 10th, 2024, we're doing it on September 10th, 2023. You know everything that's going to happen, and you're able to basically fix this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing a year ago today to fix the Bryce Young situation? Are you starting Andy Dalton last year and waiting on him? Are you saying I wouldn't have drafted him? We know. Let's assume you have him. You can't get C.J. Stroud, obviously. So let's say you have him on the team. What are you doing to have fixed this if you could start from scratch?
The first thing I'm doing is running the ball a ton. The first thing I'm doing is setting him up in a offense and probably having to change the roster, kind of what they did this offseason just earlier, cashing in some of the defense for offensive players. And I'm actually, and I've made this point on air, I'm allowing him more control of the offense. Coming out of college, what was the superpower everybody gave him? He was this savant. He was this genius football IQ. Wasn't the biggest, wasn't the strongest arm, wasn't the fastest, but he had it between the ears. So I'm leaning on that. I'm saying if you see a different play at the line of scrimmage, change it, right? Let your superpower be your superpower, and if it doesn't work out, then at least we gave you all of the chances.
Meaning you'd play him though, still, right?
Oh yeah, I'm not benching him now. I'm playing him the rest of this year.
No, but I'm saying last year, like you wouldn't have started Andy Dalton.
No, gosh, no. Last year.
Yeah.
The only thing that might have done is heck, it'll give us something to talk about. It may have made that draft pick not the number one overall that you sent to Chicago, which I would have, just from a pride standpoint, probably felt good about the trade. But no, I play quarterbacks. Quarterbacks need reps to get better.
Yeah, I think that in this scenario, they are in big trouble because he's got to get good quickly. And I don't see it. I don't see how.
I completely agree with that. And the faster they realize whether he is or isn't the guy, it's better for the team. Evan, I appreciate you going back and forth with us. I actually the Russell Wilson take was one I hadn't heard of, which is pretty difficult to do around the Panthers around here. So thank you for taking the time.